Hello and welcome to My Career, My Future program. Already, all of you know why we are doing this program. One thing that I have learned in the last 18 years, that is, whatever I have learned at my university education, that was not enough during my last 18 years of journey. Because so many mistakes I have made, so many lessons I have learned, and I paid heavy price for that. And I don't want you to pay the same price, and I don't want you to do same mistake that I made. And that is exactly the reason that we are bringing from the Coach Communication Network hundreds of other professionals. Imagine, it's not only you're learning from myself, and we want you to learn from hundreds of other seasoned professionals from our industry, from home and abroad. And this is only to help you how you can be better, how you can be impactful, and how you can help your career to see a successful one. And into this journey today, I am really delighted. I am really very excited to brought this guest for you, and you'd be excited too, I'm sure. And this is Dr. Katherine Lee, who is the Director of External Affairs, North-South University. And I also want to share that she is my first coach in my life too. And that's how I began my journey. When I left my job and I got a coach, Dr. Katherine Lee, who helped me and guided me, hand-holded me to graduate into this life and into this industry. And together now we are doing this. Please help me to welcome Dr. Katherine Lee for you. Dr. Katherine, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for inviting me.
It's my pleasure to have you into this program, and your wealth of experience is something that, personally I admire, and we all know that. Let's begin that. What brought to you in Bangladesh? And we all know that this is the beginning of 6th year of your journey. How did you begin?
Well, I came to Bangladesh in the fall, actually almost exactly 6 years ago. I came to be a faculty member at North-South University. So I was hired in the Department of English and Modern Languages, and I spent my first 3 years as a faculty member teaching students. And then in July of 2017, I was invited to be the director of the Office of External Affairs, and that's what I've been doing ever since. And so I've gone from the faculty side of North-South University to the administrative side of North-South University, and I'm really enjoying it.
So how is this life? Like, you were faculty and now you're the administrator as a director of external affairs.
I think having been the faculty first was really helpful for me to do this job as an administrator, because it really is sort of a faculty perspective that you bring to building relationships with institutions around the world. Because what we're really focused on at North-South University is creating academic collaborations with universities around the world for joint research and publication, faculty exchange, student exchange, and the opportunity for upskilling our junior faculty members to get PhDs. So coming from the faculty perspective, I can really understand what it takes to have this conversation with other institutions.
Okay, so that brought to you the next question. What did you see in, what did you notice as a faculty among the Bangladeshi students?
I noticed at some point that I was getting comments like, "Man, you're so weird." And I thought, well, what about what I'm doing is so weird? And they were starting to let me see that I was taking such a different approach than they were used to in their studies. In other words, they were used to a pretty traditional one-way model of education where the professor, the teacher has all the knowledge and all the authority, and the students are passive and receive the knowledge passively and don't really ask many questions, and then they memorize material and feed it back on an exam. So when I was sort of flipping that entirely around, they found it very surprising and sort of jarring at the beginning, because they had never been in a situation where they were sort of in charge of the class, so they were being graded on their performance, or I wanted them to demonstrate what they understood about the material to me. So in the beginning, it was quite hard for them, but then they got used to it. And I think now it's hard for them to kind of have any other way of experiencing learning.
Okay, that's great. I want to go back to the, like, before you came to Bangladesh. Can you talk about something that, why did you came to Bangladesh, and how did it happen? What actually you were doing before?
Sure. Yes, I was at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. I got my undergraduate degree there in Asian Studies. I did my master's degree at Columbia University in International Educational Development. So that really was sort of the place that opened up my eyes to how the role of education in development and all of the factors and stakeholders involved in the development of education in a country. So I already had this awareness that there were differences in different parts of the world, developing countries, developed countries, already this differentiation and the role that education plays. Mm-hmm. And so then after I got my PhD, I felt, okay, I think I would like to go back out into the world and apply a lot of the things that I had learned theoretically in my formal education. So when the opportunity came, I found an ad in the Chronicle. They were looking for faculty members at North-South University, and I applied and went through the process of getting hired and came with actually 8 other Americans in the fall of 2014.
Wow. It must be a very rigorous journey for NSU as well, right? To select and among the 8 candidates, like...
Yes, to narrow it down to 9 of us coming at the first time, I think, because we were the first ones to come as core faculty members, foreign faculty members to North-South, and it was a big adjustment, I think, for everyone, yes.
How you're enjoying the Bangladesh life? Like, little bit context about you came from the US background to all of a sudden in Bangladesh, the Southeast Asian country, and how did you find it?
When I first landed in the airport, I was really surprised by all of the activity. I mean, things are moving very quickly in Dhaka, especially, mm-hmm. and there are a lot of people. And I was a little bit overwhelmed by the stimulation, and the development was so obvious right in front of my eyes that this is a place that's growing at a fast rate and changing at a fast rate. I could already feel that the first day. I think that in some ways it felt a little bit chaotic to me. Mm-hmm. And in fact, one of my colleagues said, embrace the chaos and you'll enjoy yourself much more as you stay in Bangladesh.
Do you think this is happening place in terms of what you said, the chaos and also the, the buzz of life, a lot of things are moving, around the corner?
Yeah, I've seen change happen right in front of my eyes in the past 5 years. And I would say that I've never been in a place where the change was so obvious, so fast. So wherever I go, it looks different from when I first came here. So that is a remarkable thing to witness and be part of. And I think that's what makes it interesting to be in Bangladesh. The people are very eager to be successful, to get involved with businesses and with the economy as it's growing very fast. People are ambitious. And I think that's a very interesting thing to be involved with, especially when Bangladesh is going to probably reach 8% GDP this year. That's quite astonishing. Sometimes it feels like I'm inside of a blender, and I can barely keep up with what's happening in Bangladesh. So it keeps me on my toes.
Really? So that's really fascinating, the way the economy is actually progressing over the years and is hitting, consistently, it's just growing progressive. So that actually lead to me another question out of the curiosity, because when I see that the way Bangladesh has been perceived outside of the world, like the terms that say it's not safe, it's not, good, it's not developed. Yeah, we understand. But in terms of security aspect, in terms of safety concern, have you ever felt anything like what do you see? Being an American, because the reason I'm asking the question, because for the safety and security is everybody's concern, and same as yours as well.
Well, I guess I can just generally comment that I feel perfectly safe in Bangladesh. And even when there have been some incidents in the last 5 years that I've been here along the way, I would say that Bangladeshis were extremely concerned about making sure that I continued to feel safe, wanted, appreciated, loved, and protected. So I never felt anything but being embraced by the community, being protected by the community, and I continue to feel that way. I continue to feel perfectly safe in Bangladesh, and I would encourage more people to come here and be part of this development project that's happening here, because there's a lot that people who are not from Bangladesh, like myself, can learn about this place. So there's so many opportunities here to be involved, to invest in Bangladesh, to contribute to the development project, that I would really encourage more people to come and take a look for themselves.
Yeah, that's also my message and message for this platform as well. Those who are watching from home and abroad, like, I'm sure that this is the country, you know also, right? This is the country where a lot of things are happening. Economy is progressing fast and technology is coming fast. We are actually progressing. Probably not many people actually progressing the way we are. This is one of the fastest growing economy in the world. So this is the country where the investment is actually needed at this very moment. So there are many prospects. We'll talk about it in different segment as well. Let's go back, to our university and education, how it goes. Like, probably by this time that how our students are actually choosing the career path. It's actually guided by their parents. When we come to the university, already our parents express the desire. We want you to become a doctor, to become an engineer, to become a pilot or something like this. Our students coming into this kind of mindset. So what do you say about these things? And also leading another question, how did you choose your career? Two questions.
There was a very good question. I definitely noticed this in Bangladesh, that there's a strong tendency for the students that I've come across to be doing what their parents want them to do or what their parents have advised them to do. And that's all very noble. I understand why the parents have made these suggestions. Of course, they want their children to be successful. They want to have secure futures for their children. And it makes complete sense to me that they guide them in the best way that they think that they can. I also find that if the students themselves have not had any say in the matter, if they've not been given any choice in the matter, and they come into the university and they're doing exactly what someone else has told them to do, there's not much passion for the topic. And I would say that this might be something to take into consideration, because if you're doing something that you don't enjoy doing, it is going to be very difficult. And if the CGPA is the main thing on students' minds, and they'll have to work doubly or triply hard to be successful in those courses in which they have zero interest. So I have seen that here. And if you ask me, so how did I choose my major in the university? It's not that my father was any different. When I was asked, what would you like to study in college, my first preference was psychology. I actually wanted to do a psychology major. And my father said, no, you shouldn't do that because you'll be too involved or emotionally connected to your patients. You should study business. I said, why should I study business? I'm not interested in business. He said, well, business, if you study business, you'll be able to always get a job. And what happened to me is that I entered in as a business major and I failed, because when I took accounting, I hated it. I thought it was so boring. I took economics and management and these classes in textbooks. It didn't come alive for me. Now later I have been in a situation where I was responsible for businesses, and that is interesting to me because I learned by doing, but I did not like studying business when I was first going into the university, and I was not successful. So until I changed my major, and once I changed my major, I started getting straight A's. So I'm just making the point that if students aren't really up for the same exact thing that the parents want them to do, there's no guarantee that they're going to be successful or happy pursuing that major.
Yeah, truly. What I can also share that today, what we see in the corporate as well, that a lot of people actually say for instance, working in a bank, they actually came from the engineering background, they actually came from the physics background, chemistry background, or maybe psychology background, maybe history background, but they happen to working into the banking industry. So that leads towards to understanding some kind of concept like early when we are child and children and youth, we fix our aim in life back in like when we are 8, 9 or 10 years, because that's the schooling process. What's your aim in life? So we all are used to setting up our aim in life. What do you say actually? How can we actually set our life aim, life goal? And nowadays we hear the purpose. Our students, young students, professional, how they could actually figure it out.
Well, I think it probably is the same here as it is in my country. From a very young age, what do you want to be when you grow up? I mean, we're asked this question from the time that we're very small. So we're already asked from a young age to start imagining what our future will be, even though we have no context to make that decision at all. So I think what is helpful is exposing children to as many different activities as possible and feasible for a family, sports and music and dance and whatever kind of hobbies they can be exposed to within the economic limits of the family, or cultural norms. But I think the more exposure that people can have to the different things that are available to them, then maybe something will really spark their interest. Painting, maybe they're brilliant at painting or piano or cricket. But unless you've been exposed and you've tried for yourself, you'll never know whether or not you have any talent for those things. So I would say that is one thing, is to allow young people to have a variety of experiences through hobbies and extracurricular activities so that they can become more informed about what their possible choices are.
Absolutely. Those are students right now. I think each and every university, they have the different clubs and different activities. Do you think that our student, can groom their leadership ability, their, communication skills and others so forth, if they involve and engage and contribute to those clubs?
Definitely. I right now, this is one of the things I think is really valuable at North South University. One, that the students get a liberal arts education. So they take a number of required GED classes. So they have to take psychology and sociology and history and philosophy and a broad-based education to see, well, what's out there. So they can get a world view, so they can understand the fundamental building blocks of what education has to offer. And then they have the opportunity to join the clubs, which are aligned with the different schools at North South, for example, and they get real, I would say, skills for the first time by doing. So in all of the clubs, they have the opportunity to be in leadership positions. They have the opportunity to organize events. So when I get an application in the Office of External Affairs, the first thing I want to look at is, has this applicant been part of a club or some kind of extracurricular activity? And if I see that they have, I know that they have some practical experience that is transferable to my office, for example. And that's the same when I'm advising students as they create their resumes. Don't discount the fact that your club activity or your volunteerism was not paid. It still counts as experience. List it on your resume, because then you can demonstrate you have experience. And they're always a bit surprised, but I didn't get paid. Well, it doesn't matter. It's experience.
Absolutely. So those who are students right now, you also heard right now, right? So it pays off sometimes in the career while you are just going to build over the years. So that leads towards another understanding that I have learned, that today that so many of us, like we become doctor and engineer and we become entrepreneur, we earn so many things. So we also earn money. But what we see after that, our doctors or engineers or each and every professionals, after becoming that, they become frustrated. They become, they don't know what to do the next, because that's what they wanted to become, a doctor, an engineer. Once they become doctor and engineer, now they're lost in life. And how do you see that? Because what I see that, just giving the clue that they were programmed earlier. I want to become a doctor, but don't know what do I do after becoming a doctor, after becoming an engineer. So why I want to bring this topic? Because all the young professionals, actually what I feel is the life's fulfillment, their life purpose, and how do we contribute, how do we create impact into the society and industry, and versus at the same time I choose my profession, my passion.
I think that we definitely need doctors in our society, and we definitely need engineers in our society, and we also need musicians and
every industry, every profession.
There are so many things in this world that make up the whole picture.
Yeah.
And if people, this goes back to the earlier question, if people don't have any other choice but that one choice, it may be that they become very successful as a surgeon, but they may not feel very satisfied. So to overcome that, again, I think it's exposing yourself. And even as a doctor, you can still, at some point in your life, expand the pie. Maybe you are an orthopedic surgeon, and maybe you feel like, okay, I want to expand my skills. There's always room to develop yourself further. It's not like, oh, okay, I've got my PhD, there's nothing else to do because it's a terminal degree. I have continued educating myself all the way along. And I still want to find new ways. What else can I learn? What else can I expose myself to? Because it makes me a richer contributor to our world if I keep expanding my skill set.
Absolutely, absolutely. And today, every one of us, we want to become successful, because success is a definition, success is a word, and that is so lucrative and that is so attractive as well. Every one of us, we actually looking forward to have success in any form and any sort and in any how as well. So my next question to you, what is success to you?
I think that success is a personal and subjective experience. And definitely we all have basic needs that have to get met. So if we look at Maslow's hierarchy, we have the survival skills, and then we have all of the skills and then that we need to achieve for happiness or safety or well-being. And then eventually, once those needs are met, you get to a point on the pyramid where it's self-actualization, where it's beyond money, it's beyond status, all of those things are already met. And then you really sit and say, okay, but am I living my life purpose? Am I contributing my gift? And that's when the question gets really interesting. And that's when sometimes people who are materially very successful get stuck, because they're not actually sure, am I aligned with my life purpose? But it's not too late then. There's always an opportunity to find out what that is if it doesn't feel like you're perfectly aligned with that life purpose.
Absolutely. And to me, it is also so that success is a journey, and it continues. There is no finish line as well. So as you go along, the journey continues, and maybe the destination also further we increase.
Yeah, I think it's more than just the financial. How much money do you have in the bank? When I was recently in Bhutan, I was very interested in looking at the GNH, Gross National Happiness Model. So I visited the Gross National Happiness Center, and I wanted to understand this. And without going into too many details about what gross national happiness is, it's a more expanded view than just GDP or GNP. It's not just the economic well-being or success that you have or your country has, but are you connected to your community? Do you have social emotional well-being, or do you feel isolated and alone? I mean, this is one thing I see in my own country. When I see that there's a lot of loneliness and that people feel very disconnected from the community, and you have a lot of depression and there are mental health issues. So money is not the whole picture.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Katherine Lee, for your insightfulness. And let me ask you, do you consider yourself successful as well? Right?
I consider myself wildly successful.
Wow.
by all standards. But that's also because I know how to give very, very measured frameworks around. So I am very clear that I have enough. I don't need 25 bags. I don't need 100 pair of shoes.
Correct.
I don't need 3 Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah.
I have a real sense of enough is actually enough.
Yeah. So this is very simplistic, form of life. And then I really respect you, admire you, and also salute you for this purified thoughts. But today, a lot of us, we actually pursuing, chasing money, fame, and game, and everything that and we ended up actually, a lot of us actually the frustration, anxious, anxiety, and life at a risk today. We are not actually able to enjoy. Whereas you were saying that if we're able to define what we actually need, what we actually, could enjoy. So how do we come up, this kind of tunnel and sharpness?
Well, for me, it's just simply having traveled as much as I've traveled and having moved to so many different houses just in my childhood. It's a very simple thing that caused me to be non-materialistic. I don't want to pack all that stuff up and have to move it again. So the more you have, the more you have to manage. And I find that very burdensome. I want to keep it very light, have my footprint be light, because I want to be able to move easily through the world. I don't want to be bogged down by a lot of material. They almost become anchors, like chains and ball around your leg. If you have so many material things, it's almost like you become a slave to all of those material things. So it's a personal perspective. And mine just happens to be a very light footprint because I'm not collecting anything. The only thing that I'm collecting are experiences.
Right.
And so I think for each person, it'll take time to understand what is enough for me to feel satisfied.
We all know that you are involved in the Toastmasters Club in Northside University. So tell us something about Toastmasters and what it is.
Toastmasters is a growing movement in Bangladesh. In fact, Toastmasters has been around for over 100 years, as you know. It was started in the United States, and I had always known about Toastmasters, but I had never joined Toastmasters. But I was teaching public speaking classes at North-South University while I was a faculty member. And I really saw the benefit to the students when they had the opportunity to practice public speaking in the class. They gained confidence by giving speeches and getting feedback, by giving each other feedback, by working together in groups. So after those classes would end, the students would invariably ask me, "Ma'am, how can I continue with public speaking? I'm really interested in continuing this journey." And I said, well, I know that Toastmasters is an organization that has public speaking and leadership development opportunities, but I don't know if there are any Toastmasters clubs in Bangladesh. Well, sure enough, there are Toastmasters clubs in Bangladesh. And to make a long story short, I founded, along with my students, the first university-based Toastmasters club in Bangladesh at North-South University. And I just have to say, if we talk about success and building up people's repertoire of skills to lead them to success, Toastmasters is one of the best places to go in Bangladesh that can supplement what's happening in your classroom at the university so that you get a whole wide range of very important soft skills that employers in today's world are looking for. Communication skills, negotiation skills, the ability to work on a team. These are all the skills, the core skills that every employer is looking for when they talk to you in a job interview. And if you're lacking those, you'll probably be overlooked as a candidate.
Absolutely. And being a member of Toastmasters, and this is an international platform, this is absolutely focusing on to sharpen your skill, how you can develop yourself as a good communicator, as a competent communicator, as an impactful communicator. Also, how you can develop your leadership skill, your people management skill, Toastmasters can give you the exact platform, the exact tools, methods, and techniques and process and know-how. And there are lot many people are there, right? They are there to help you, to guide you, to help you to look better, to help you so that you can perform better. So those who are just new to this Toastmasters, just listening new, go and search it to the Google. You would get to know and you'll be amazed that this is really growing fast in Bangladesh. So, but are you looking to improve your leadership skill? If it is, then go for it. We would strongly recommend that. Let's coming back when I was like, you were coaching me last year, beginning of 2018, and I was really amazed to see how the coach goes and how the coach and coach relationship, what is the impact, because truly I was getting different direction of my life after I leave my job. I know that what I want to, but to me, I had many choices. I had multiple options, but the coach helped me actually, my coach, Dr. Katherine, she helped me actually to get focus and to know what exactly I was actually looking from inside. So I'm really thankful and grateful to Dr. Katherine Lee for your, guided coaching, for your skill set. So that leads to the next question is, how did you get involved as a coach? Why did you start as a coach?
Kamrul, I think this goes back to what is success.
Yeah.
And we were talking about, how do we measure success? I always look for the opportunity to continue to develop myself, as I said. And so I kind of was getting to this point. I had been in the classroom for 2 years at North South, and I was feeling like I need some new stimulation, some new tools. And I was looking to do a presentation. I wanted to talk about my experience at North South as a faculty member, because I do consider myself more of a facilitative teacher or a coach more than a teacher. I'm not really teaching anything, but I'm facilitating learning. So I was looking on how to put this paper together, and I came across coaching. I had never really gotten involved with coaching before. I didn't really know what it was, but I saw that there was this area in the academy, in the journals, that talked about teachers as coaches. And I got very excited about that. And it actually led me to Georgetown University. And I took a look at leadership coaching. And I thought, wow, this looks really exciting. I'm so interested in this. And I looked at the program, and I had to think about it for about a year, because it was about, it would be a big investment financially. It also would mean that I would have to travel once a month from Taka to Washington, D.C. for 7 months. So I had to think about that level of commitment. And finally, I just really thought, this is something I need for my career, for my professional development, to make myself more effective. So I actually went to the Georgetown program as a form of professional development. And once I got involved with it, one of the requirements in the coaching program is that you have to do pro bono coaching for 3 people to be able to finish your program. So I had to find people who were willing to be, don't take it personally, but guinea pigs, really. People who were willing for free to be coached by someone who was a coach in training. And Kamrul, he just right away, I posted it on LinkedIn, and man, he grabbed it right away. I want to be one of those people. Yeah. And it was my pleasure and my honor to spend the 10 sessions. That's what coaching sessions with Georgetown, the formula is sort of a 10 session program, and we always did it on Skype, even though we're in the same city. It just worked out that it was easier to have our sessions on Skype. And I think that having coached you and 2 other people that helped me finish my program, it really helped me to become more effective in anything that I do. And what I have to say is, like, oh my gosh, I'm sitting in the studio right now with you, and I remember when this was your goal, when we first were talking about where do you see yourself, and where are you going, and how are you going to get there? And this is what you imagined. And I'm sitting here right now having an interview with you. You made your dream come true. Right. And I'm so proud of you. And I'm so glad that I could be part of it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. For those who are just new to coaching industry or coaching, arena, a coach can see what you can't see. Coach is outside the force. You are inside the force. Coach is really your friend. Coach can help you to make you better. Let me just tell you, our Sakib Al Hassan, our Mashrafi Murtaja, the world famous Messi or the Ronaldo, talk about everybody. Their coach, they made them better. And today, if you really want to achieve something significantly, what you are not able to think, probably a coach or mentor probably can help you, guide you the same way I was guided by. After that, I went for John Maxwell certification. I also went to Harvard for, to study the coaching and leadership strategies, so forth. And this is truly, it has created an immense impact on my life. Tell us something about, your understanding the importance of coaching and mentoring, and today our youth and young professionals, so that they could understand it further.
Well, coaching it's not really like therapy, and it's not where the coach is telling you what to do. The coach is, through guided questions, trying to help understand where you want to go. And if there are any obstacles, to help get underneath what they might be, so that you can move them out of your way and move onward with your journey. So it really is it's a co-active relationship that you have, where really there's a lot of active listening on the part of the coach, and then reframing. Okay, I think I heard you say this. Is that right? And with that level of attention, someone really listening to you that closely, and then having you ask, well, what are you going to do about that? So there's a lot of accountability on the person's part who is under a coach's guidance. The coach can help with the framework, but the person who's being coached actually has to do all the work, because it's your goal, it's your dream, and it's your journey. But the coach is there to help to keep you accountable to your dream.
Coaches are the mirror, they are your accountability partner. They're the thinking partner as well. They hold everything upside, right? Look, this is what he actually wanted to do. That's what you actually did also for me, because I had so many goals, and I have so many, bigger goals in my life. And trust me, I encourage you and also invite you to have some of the mentoring and coaching. Your life would not be the same as it is today. And that is if you work onto it. So that brought me how it has enhanced your current career skills in your life, this coaching, mentoring, and everything.
Definitely made me better at whatever I do. It makes me a better human being, and that I think I'm a much better listener. I think I am able to, I'll just say that I'm also a trained mediator. So as a mediator, you do a lot of listening to people when they're expressing what's important to them or what's bothering them, but you don't get personally involved. So remember, this goes back to what my father said to me: don't go into psychology because you'll get too personally involved with your patients. Well, isn't it interesting how life circled back? I still am on this same initial dream. This is what I'm saying is so important when you're young. If there's something that you really want to do, don't let anybody change your mind. And I know my father meant well when he said, go into business. But in reality, this always, all along, to mentor, guide, and coach people using psychological paradigms still tends to be what I really enjoy, because I do have a natural ability to look inside of someone and recognize their gift, and then help to sort of pull that out of them and say, this is what I see. What do you see? This is what I see. And that's what coaching really is all about, is helping someone get to their gift, and then optimizing and manifesting that gift into the world. So I guess it brought me full circle. It makes me a better manager as the director of the Office of External Affairs, because I use all of that with my staff. It's not like I'm the boss, and we have a collaborative decision-making process in the office. So it made me better there. It made me a better employee for North-South University. I think it just made me a better person with more skills.
Absolutely. And I also agree with that, and I also believe that those who are listening and watching right now, you have one thing that is you are really good at, and you are really unique of that quality. But the question is, do you really know that? My coach helped me to understand my unique ability, to understand and explore, and that become explosion inside. But every one of you, those who are watching, you have that quality, you have that ability, because Out of this 7 billion people in the world, nobody is actually similar. Everyone is unique. Even our footprint is unique. Even the way we see, our eyeball is unique. Our voice is unique. So you can be the person who can be the world famous. You can change maybe something that nobody could, right? That's what a coach can give you that confidence. Look, you are actually good at it. Looks like that you have this ability, these things, talking and conversation. So this actually helps tremendously inside out. That's what you did.
I'm glad it worked for you.
Absolutely. So that's actually brought to you another segment, another question, that is, as this is the program for students and young professionals, career and life development. So what do you suggest and say that those who want to build a career, what are the soft skills they could focus on? Just roughly, and then we can conclude the session. Because today, our corporates are looking forward, it's changing, technology was changing, the economy is changing, everything is changing.
I feel that all the things that we've talked about today can be summed up in communication skills. Again, coaching and Toastmasters and all the different things that we actually have in common. And fortunately, a liberal arts education you get at North-South University is also a wonderful foundation. And I think that North-South students are really lucky that they have that platform to develop themselves. And then they have these other opportunities through student clubs and North-South University Toastmasters Club to really continue and find their passion. So I think the corporate world is looking what uniquely is inside you and what can you offer us. So if you apply for a job, you should really be thinking very carefully about how can I make a major contribution to this organization? And how can I communicate that message to the interviewer? So I think communication skills are extremely important. I think it's very important that you're self-aware, that you have self-knowledge. You know who you are. You know what your strengths and weaknesses are. Yeah. And you know how to build yourself up. You know how to learn from your mistakes. You have to be willing to take risks. And if you do it doesn't matter if you make mistakes. They're your best teachers. But time management, showing up, personal grooming, communication, all of these things you can't automate those skills. In other words, that's what employers are looking for. Those skills that cannot be automated, right? Those are all the soft human skills. And people want you to be able to work on a team, to be able to resolve conflict. And these are the things that you get by practicing with a coach, in Toastmasters, in extracurricular activities.
Right.
I think that's really the sum of it.
Fantastic. And you really summed it up so nicely. These are the skill set today we are looking forward. We means the corporate industry is looking forward, because whatever we are learning at our university level, when you finish your graduation or master's, when you enter into the corporate world, things have changed so much. On the change scenario, you got to change yourself. So you got to prepare yourself better. You got to think outside the box. You got to think creatively. You got to have this communication skill. You got to have the people leadership skill, as you talked about. You got to connect people emotionally as well, so that you convince, you persuade, and ultimate objective is how you get things done with others' support and with others' help, because it's not alone that you can achieve everything. It's together.
Well, and I've talked to different employers, and I think one of the things that they really look for is someone who can solve problems, because things are so busy in the workplace. You can't expect that your boss is going to say, okay, today I want you to do this. And then you just sit around for the rest of the day and wait until you get the next command. That's not going to happen. You will be expected to be proactive and solve problems and think ahead and be entrepreneurial and be innovative, so that people can look to you and realize, I could actually walk away and this person would run the office just fine without me. That's what people are looking for in the workplace. So take initiative.
Absolutely. You got to be proactive as well. And that can, make you different among many others, because that's what the organizations are looking forward. And I hope and believe that together we have been able to add some value to your life and career as a whole, because that's the objective. Thank you, Dr. Katherine, for your time. And we are really grateful from Coach Communication Network. You're part of it.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It was a delight.
Thank you. And stay tuned until we bring some other new exciting guests from home and abroad. And this is absolutely for your betterment and for your career and life. May God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you very much and best of luck.